right, welcome to Chair Yoga for the care of Waldenstroms. I'm here with a large group of folks from all over the world, and I kind of want to circle back and get back to some of our original intentions for practicing as a group. What is yoga? Why? What are we looking to get out of it? And then, just to remind you, you don't get the benefits unless you practice consistently. And I sort of think that's might be why there's so many people here today, because I gave you a little push. So yoga, as we know and as we've come to understand, is a mind-body practice that combines movement and breath and meditation, and it can help to still the mind. That's one of the things that we learn right from the very beginning, that yoga is the cessation of the turnings of thought. So raise your hand if you can relate to turnings of thought, right? That sort of circular thinking. So hopefully with the practice of yoga, practiced consistently, we'll be able to manage, monkey mind. Yoga also wonderfully addresses age-related changes like osteoporosis, arthritis, and it can help manage some symptoms that I'm hearing you might be experiencing even today, such as fatigue, peripheral neuropathy. And lastly, most importantly, I really believe this is one of the most important pieces, yoga can help us manage that chronic stress that we might experience due to these maybe multiple diagnoses. So that's what yoga is, and that's why we practice. But again, we don't get any of the benefit unless we do it relatively consistently. And I just want to plant one more seed here. The things that you do every day have the most impact on your well-being. So I'm just going to plant that seed a couple times throughout our session today. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to rub my hands together. Rubbing my hands together, and then let's go ahead, and if you're wearing glasses, you can remove your glasses. And I'm going to cup my palms just loosely over my eyes. Or maybe use my forearms or another part of my body to cover my eyes. I'm just going to take a moment here to create a space that is for my own self-care. And I like to usually get in about 3 to 5 breaths with any single thing that I'm doing in my yoga practice. So you might take 5 breaths in a row, or 3 breaths in a row, and maybe just picturing one thing that you do every day that helps your well-being, that impacts your well-being. Maybe give yourself a pat on the back for that. Coming into this space today exactly as you are. You're welcome here in whatever state of being you're in. And when you're ready, you can bring the arms down, take the hands into the lap, put the glasses back on if you would like. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of a head to toe movement. I'm just going to start by tilting one ear towards one shoulder. Come back to center and tilt the other ear towards the other shoulder. I've got my feet on the ground. I'm sitting away from the back of my chair, and I'm just tilting one ear towards one shoulder at a time. You've got it. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. And just noticing, what is the state of my neck, my shoulders as I do this? And can I let go of holding those shoulders up all the time? Just let those shoulders soften a bit. Any other movements that you would like to make in the head or the neck? Maybe a little circle would feel good. Maybe you'd like to shrug the shoulders up, back, and down a few times, just kind of letting go of all the moments that led to this one. We can come into this moment as a group exactly as we are. All right, so I'm going to stretch out my right arm out to the right. The palm is lifted, and I'm going to make a fist around my thumb and drop the knuckles down. Breathing in, lifting, spreading the fingers, you got it. Breathing out, dropping the fist down. And just one more like that. Really good. I'm going to keep that arm lifted and tilt my left ear to my left shoulder and just begin to circle my palm, little circles that move downward as I find my breath here. Circles moving downward little by little, and then taking the arm behind the back. How would that feel? I've still got my left ear tilted away from that arm. So I'm feeling a stretch in this right shoulder, right neck area. And then I could, if I wanted to, spin my chin down. So peeking down at my left shoulder and just taking a couple of breaths. Maybe I sighed out the mouth. All right, and then returning that hand to my lap and just noticing the difference between the two sides. And then we'll go ahead and stretch that left arm out to the left. Palm is lifted, lots of space between the fingers, big breath in. And then we're exhaling, dropping those knuckles down, fist around the thumb, right? Or doing whatever feels best for you. Palm lift and spread, and then knuckles down. Got it. Hello, Carolyn, welcoming you. And we'll do one more lift, spread, knuckles down. And then keeping that hand lifted, I'm going to tilt my right ear to my right shoulder and just begin to make those little circles. Breath is moving in. Breath is moving out. Those circles are moving downward, little by little by little. And eventually just tucking that arm behind my back or resting it on my hip. I still have my right ear towards my right shoulder. And that could feel good just staying there. Or maybe I could take a peek down at my right shoulder. Sigh out the breath. Very good. And then coming back to center, resting the hand in the lap and just noticing just the difference that a little thing like that can make in your feeling of energy and vitality. So let's bring the arms down at the sides and we'll do some basic arm salutes. I'm going to lift the arms out to the sides and up as far as feels good, and then right back down. Breathing in, breathing out. Going at your own pace. Big breath. You got it, Anne. Make this a gradual movement. You don't have to go from 0 to 60 as fast as you possibly can, right? Maybe you just explore gentle, gradual range of motion. It's good, Sharon. Let's take one more inhale. And maybe this time the hands come down through heart center. You know I was going there, right? And just for a moment, I'm going to close my eyes And with my feet on the earth and my seat in my chair, widen out my awareness. So I'm not only aware of my own body, but I am holding space for this entire Waldenstrom's community, imagining all of my Waldenstrom's friends in their living rooms, kitchens, dining rooms, bedrooms, practicing together as a community. We are so much stronger. Big breath. Let it go and release the hands down. So I'm going to take a little sip of water and then we'll move to a wider stance. So I got a nice wide stance. I'm away from the back of my chair. And I'll make some circles with my torso. Maybe half the circle is a breath in, half the circle is a breath out, or whatever would feel good for you. You could move a lot, you could move a little. Maybe you want to come back the other direction. And then we'll all meet in the neutral, upright posture here. And I'm going to get into a little bit of lateral flexion of my spine. So that's side bending. So I might just slide my right hand, my right wrist up to my right rib cage and lean to the left. And see if I could breathe into my hand. Lift that rib cage. Maybe imagine that you have little gills you could breathe in on the right side. Coming back to center, other side, left hand, left rib cage, lean to the right. Fill up the hands, fill up the rib cage, open those gills. And release back to center. So you could continue like that, or maybe you want to lift the arm a little bit or a lot. I'm still anchoring down through my feet and my sit bones. And I'm going to flow from side to side at my own pace. So I really want to explore this lengthening. And we do this in every class, particularly because it's not a movement we make regularly in a daily routine. And as a result, we can kind of lose a little bit of the elasticity of those muscles between the ribs. So I'm going to stay supple for good breathing, good movement. And then we're coming back. And I'll go ahead and maybe hold on to my chair, pick up my toes, pick up my heels, walk my feet back so that I'm about hip distance apart with my legs. And I'm going to lift up the right leg, squeeze that right thigh muscle and bring it right back down. Breathing in, left leg, squeeze and lift. And I'm moving from side to side, a total of between 3 to 5 for each side. Lifting, squeezing, getting the juices flowing in the knees. Very good. Maybe one more on each side. Feel that strength in the legs. And now I'm going to bring my right heel on the earth. The leg is long, and I'm going to pump the foot. So we were talking about peripheral neuropathy before. And this is one of those every day. What if I did this every day? Would that improve my experience of peripheral neuropathy? Our exercise physiologist from Dana-Farber used this as an exercise in our webinar last year. It was 2 years ago at this point. So foot pumps, just picking up the toes and then pushing them back down. So I'm getting a really big kind of stretch for the calf and shin. When you're ready, switching sides. or making a different movement if this one is not accessible for you. Pumping that foot or moving that ankle, and just noticing the difference of the sides. Maybe you want to take one or two more. And then returning to both legs bent, feet on the earth. I'm away from the back of my chair. And I'm just going to take a very gentle, easy twist to the right and use those core muscles to twist to the right, and then come back to center, breathing in. Exhaling, twisting to the left, core muscles. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. And exhale, left. All right, so coming back to center. And now I'm going to kind of, before I stand, if this is something that's in my practice today, I might be somebody who, when I sit a lot, and then when I come up to stand, I get dizzy. So here's a little trick that even my dad's doctor gave to him. There's no real pretty way of saying it. It's butt clenches, right? So you want to get some of the major muscles working so we can get the blood pressure lifted a little bit if you get low blood pressure when you stand. So I'm just using my glute muscles. I'm just squeezing my glute muscles and contracting those gluteal muscles. And you might even get a little taller when you do that. So just doing a few butt clenches. You know, the glute muscle is the largest muscle in the body, and we're going to be using it when we come to stand. So it's good to kind of get it activated. So now your choice to stand. I'm going to do 3 sit to stands if I'm standing up today. So I'm going to first kind of get my peripheral vision on. I'm going to make sure that I'm aware of my surroundings. And I might just come up a little bit the first time and come right back down. And of course, I want you to modify this so you feel safe and stable. And maybe the last time I do this, I come to stand fully. And I'm just going to take a moment to clear the space, make this my standing space, making sure I have access to something for support. Maybe taking a little sip of water. And then I'm going to start today just by rubbing my fists along my low back or my wrists. Sometimes I see you guys doing this. Like, oh, my aching back, right? And from here, I might squeeze my elbows together. I can feel this kind of expansiveness across my chest. And I'm just going to lift my heart. So I might be doing a little mini back bend. So looking to get the spine moved in all directions today through our session. And then I'll just come back to an upright posture, take hold of my support, and maybe, just maybe, come up onto my tiptoes a little bit and come back down. Maybe you're somebody who likes to use one or both arms as you float up. Breathing in, breathing out. You got it, Janice. Doing what feels best for you. Maybe it's just the arm part. Maybe it's just the tiptoe part. And this is great for our balance. Many of us experience balance changes as a result of just aging. And balance is such a fine-tuned thing that has so many systems involved. So now as I come down, I'm going to sink down into my knees and get a little bit lower, feel the glute muscles working. Come up out of that, maybe a tiptoe float, and then we sink down into the knees. So we're coming into chair pose. I'm going to do that 2 more times. Breathing in, breathing out. You got it. And last one, lift. And float your way down, down, down. And then I'm coming up to stand. And I'm going to start to walk in place. Opposite arm, opposite leg, marching in place. Maybe you're sitting for this and you could do this in a seated posture, marching in a seated posture. Notice, like, move your mind to your core and feel the strength in your core. And as you start to slow your walk down, really tap into that core strength. That's nice, Betty Ann. And the slower you go, kind of the harder a balance challenge it is. Find a place to gaze that's far away. It's beautiful, Renee. Maybe you slow it down as slow as you possibly can go. One more on each side. All right. Very good. I'm going to take my right foot forward and my left foot back at an angle for warrior one. Great pose for stretching the hip flexor. I'm going to bend into my right knee. My torso comes from this sort of maybe leaning forward posture to an upright posture. And then from here, I could hold onto my chair. I could bring my hands to heart center. Whatever feels good. Taking those 3 breaths. I can see myself doing this pose every day. I do this pose every day. And my hip flexors and my glute muscles thank me for it. A nice counter pose to warrior one is our pyramid pose. So I'm going to shorten my stance a little bit. Both legs are straight and strong. I'll take my hands to my hips or rest my hands on my chair, whatever feels good, and just take a little bow forward, leading with the heart. Maybe when I get down here, I'd like to bring my forearms onto my chair for support, or I could stay with my hands on my hips. And I can feel a nice stretch to the back of my right leg. You got it, Douglas. Maybe I tuck my chin a little bit so I'm not jutting the chin. And then I'll come up nice and slow and switch sides. So left foot forward, right foot back at a bit of an angle. I'm bending into that left knee. My torso is upright. Maybe you want to give a little squeeze to that right glute muscle and feel the length in the right hip. And you could hold onto your chair or bring the hands to heart center. And find those 3 bountiful breaths. Taking good care of me today. You got it, Kit. Beautiful. And then we'll come out of this nice and slow and do our counter pose. So I'll shorten my stance and both legs remain straight and strong. Hands can come onto the hips or you could use your chair for support. I'm just taking a bow. Keeping my breath moving. Pull that belly to the spine to protect the low back. Maybe the hands come onto the chair for support. That's great, Joanne. Really great to see you. And when you're ready, make your way up. And we're going to come back to our marching in place. And this time, I kind of want to encourage a little twist to the torso. Like, where does it feel natural? So if I'm marching in place, I might twist and twist, right? Find just like 1 or 2 spots to look. And this, when you slow it down, not only are you standing on one leg, but you're doing like a standing twist. This is one of my favorite things to challenge myself with. Pretty hard too. And I think one of our practitioners, Anne, Anne's aerobic teacher came to our class one day and we did this with her, and she said she was going to steal this one. So I love that one. Good balance challenge. And now go ahead and just take that sip of water. And definitely exactly where we're going, Janice. You read my mind. Hip circles, right? So take a little bit of a wider stance and circling the hips in one direction and the other direction. A lot of us have tightness in the hips, and another part of the body we need to tend to through our practice of yoga. All right, now I'm coming back to neutral, and I can't get enough of these side bends. I'm going to reach that right arm up. Let the left arm be loose, maybe even let it dangle and swing a little bit. Feel that right rib cage. Breathe through the right gills. And then relax back to center. You got it. Left arm lift. Right arm is relaxed. Maybe even let it dangle a little bit. Breathe. And soften back to center. We'll do one more on each side. All right, last one. Okay, now for this next exercise, I'd like you to come to find support from a wall or chair. So I really do want to hold on to something for this. And I'm going to do my leg sweeps. Now we did this in gentle yoga last week. So I'm going to bring my weight to my right foot. And I'm going to bring the left toe in front of me, out to the side, and then behind me. So I'm like pointing in the shape of a V, the letter V on its side. So front, side, and back. And I might touch down, or I might begin to swing with control the leg in that side V shape. And it does get hard for the standing leg, so we'll stop in a moment. Now I'm holding on for support. Maybe you can do this without holding on. That would be amazing. And then I'm going to relax back and switch sides. So we're taking the hand onto something for support and bringing the opposite toe out. Front, side, and back, side, and front. And then maybe rather than touching down, you can just sweep with control. It's a tough one to do without the support. So if you need the support, keep it. All right. Now release that down. Come back to your wide stance. I'm going to take a little wide-legged forward fold here. So maybe I have a chair in front of me, or maybe I just lean forward, let the hands slide down the legs. With a flat back, I mean, technically we know it's not flat, but I'm not rounding my back. That's the point of what I'm trying to say here. So just leaning forward, folding forward to whatever degree feels safe to you without rounding the back. And we do that because we're at higher risk of compression fracture if we have severe osteoporosis. So that's a little why. But this is such a good stretch for the backs of the legs and the hips. I'm going to come up nice and slow now. And return my feet to a nice even posture here. So I might just stand in my mountain pose for a moment. Just kind of let the hips settle, because we're going to do a triangle pose next, and that's kind of strenuous on the hips. So I'm just giving my hips a moment. And then I'll return to a slightly wide stance, slightly wider stance, maybe wider than the shoulders. I'm going to turn my right toes to the right, and I might have something to hold on to here. And I'll angle my left toes in a little bit and kind of sass out that left hip. I've got my left hand on my left hip, and my right arm is out to the side like a tea spout, like I'm a teapot. And I want to pour my spout out over my right toes, keeping my left shoulder back. So I'm in this sort of line. And I might do this a few times. My gaze could be down, especially if I, get dizzy easily or I have vertigo. And you can feel that strength and stretch in the left hip. The next time I lean down, I'm going to bring my hand or my arm and rest that hand somewhere on my right leg. Doesn't matter where. I'm keeping my left shoulder back, and then I might lift my left arm up. The gaze could still be down, and I find that really helpful for me, for grounding. You got it, Greg. You could also just rest that left hand on the hip. That would be fine. Come on up nice and slow and walk it out between sides. So you can really feel that is doing something at the juncture of the hip and the spine. And what it is doing is helping us build bone density. We're holding that for at least 12 seconds in order to get those osteocytes, the bone-making proteins, excited so that they can start to create new bone. So let's come back to that wider stance. Left toes to the left. Angle the right foot in. Sass out your right hip like a rebellious teenager. I'm going to bring my left hand out like a tea spout, and my right hand is on my hip. And I'm just pouring my tea out over my left toes as I keep my right shoulder back. Maybe my gaze is down. And I'm going to make any modifications so I feel stable, so I feel safe. And maybe the next time I come down, I could bring my hand down somewhere on that left leg. Maybe the right arm reaches up towards the sky. Right, so straight up, it's not a side bend. Yeah, you got it. Gaze could be anywhere that feels right to you. And then we're coming up nice and slow. That is a tough posture. My teacher calls it the puzzle of a lifetime. So any other movements the body's asking for? Maybe you want to rub your back. Maybe you want to take a downward facing dog using the chair or a wall for support. Maybe you want to do a few standing kind of windmill motions. And we are going to close our class with one more standing posture. That's tree pose. Or you could simply stand on one leg if that would feel better. So I'm going to come to stand with my feet hip distance apart. I have my support nearby. I'm going to find a place to gaze that's far away. And I'm even looking out at trees that are kind of gracefully moving in the wind. And that's the kind of energy I want to bring to my tree pose. I'm going to allow the micro movements to be there. So weight in the right foot, pick up the left heel, open the knee to the side. And this might be where I stay with my toe on the earth, or I might lift my foot up and place it somewhere onto the leg. Zip up the core. Maybe you want to squeeze that right glute muscle. And then I'm looking for my edge. Where's my edge? So I might take my hand off the chair for like a millisecond. Maybe I want to grow my branches. That's beautiful, Beth. Maybe I want to keep my hands to heart center. If I fall out of it, great. I just go right back to it and take another breath. You got it, Gordon. And release. All right, gold stars. We're almost there. Let's do the other side. So little bendy bounce. Weight to that left leg. Pick up the right heel, open it. So I got this externally rotated open hip posture. bringing the foot up if that would feel good, and that little zip of the core, finding my edge. I want to find my edge. That place where I begin to kind of wobble. That's where I want to work towards extending the time. Could I do this every day? This would be so good for me. Even just standing on one leg. One more breath. All right, you guys got it. Nice job. And give yourselves a pat on the back, round of applause, gold stars for an awesome tree pose, awesome class. We're going to come back to sit. We'll do 2 little stretches and then wind down. So coming to sit mindfully. All right, so well done, friends. I'm going to cross my right ankle over my left knee. Yeah, grab that sip of water if you need it. So coming into my hip stretch. Maybe you want to modify this, keeping my foot flexed, not pointed. Maybe I lean forward a little bit if I want more sensation, or I could stay just where I am. Softening my gaze down to the earth. 3 breaths. Sitting up tall, I cross the knee over, so I still have the right leg on top. And I'll do that twist to the right. Chin is level with the earth. I'm using my torso to make this twist. I'm not going to go farther than feels good. And what am I doing with my shoulders? Maybe I can let the shoulders soften a little bit. And then releasing back to center. And switching sides. Left ankle over the right knee. Finding what feels good here. Now you can always do a little massage. Maybe you want to move to the hip stretch. You got it, Joan. Big breath. Softening the gaze down. Working your way back up when you're ready. Crossing the knee over. Sitting up nice and tall, we take a breath in. As we exhale, we're twisting to the left. And that twist is about the core twisting and the middle back twisting. But maybe you want to also peek over the left shoulder as you soften both shoulders. And then relaxing, unwinding back to center. You could take one more stretch. You could move the body in any way that would feel good. Maybe you want to roll the wrists. And then we'll close our session with a little more centering. If you need to rest, you could come to even lay down on your couch or floor. But I'm going to give myself permission to maybe do a little bit less right now. Maybe that means I move to the back of my chair and just feel the support of that chair behind me. And take a moment to let the expression drain from my face. I'm smoothing out my muscles in my face, maybe closing my eyes if I haven't already done so. Just letting go of all of the doing and coming into the next few moments. See them as moments where we are just being. Being a body laying down or sitting down. And maybe you would like to, for just a moment, in your mind's eye, visualize a pond or lake, a body of water. And imagine yourself tossing in a little pebble. Follow the ripples on the surface of the lake. And then visualizing the lake becoming still. Maybe you throw another pebble in and then allow those ripples to echo out. And just resting in this nourishing place in your mind, allowing the mind to be like this clear, still lake, calm, peaceful. And as you come into your body, let's take some breaths together. Maybe allowing the belly to soften. It's really letting go of holding that belly for a moment. And filling the belly with your breath. In no particular hurry, coming out of your rest space, your meditation space, maybe blinking the eyes open, maybe taking some small movement into the body, maybe giving yourself a hug. And I want to thank you so much for your practice today, friends. I'll bring my hands to heart center, and you're invited to do the same. I'll close our session with the sound of 1 Om and 3 Shantis. Shanti means peace. So see if we can let that Shanti ripple out. Breathing in. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thanking you so much, friends. Namaste.